right. Atul Suri is our market master of the day. He's joining us right here in the studios, Chief Executive Officer at Marathon Trends PMS. Atul, good to have you with us here back in the studios. Thanks very much.
Morning.
I mean, we've had this rally, nice rally for the last 7 days or so.
7 days.
So, is this the start of a bigger move, Atul, in your view?
See, as I see it, Prashant, there are three trends broadly. There are uptrends. Everyone's happy, good about it. It's very visible. You have downtrends. Nobody's happy. And you have sideways trends where we are all confused. And I think we are in that space.
I see.
You know, I feel that this sideways or consolidation is not just in India. It's global. If you look at US markets, if you look at the S&P 500, because that's how I call that mothership, it's kind of where it was a year ago.
3,800 to 4,100.
Absolutely. Or, 4,200 is a breakout. It sort of gets you there and then it kind of deceives. So from that point of view, you know that we are in a sideways trend. The thing is, we are not used to seeing sideways trends for the last 10 years, thanks to the Fed. Each time global markets had a problem, you had interest rate cuts, money was thrown in. And now that is not there.
It's actually exactly been 10 years, because the last sideways market, extended sideways market we saw was between 2010 and late 2013, right before the Modi rally, right?
Absolutely. So these are very frustrating times, as they are today. Like, you know, you would see up, US Dow is up, so we should be up 30 points. And when you open the market, nothing's happening. And the stocks you were mentioning, hardly, you didn't even have to have conviction. Right? It doesn't inspire any confidence because there was some volume. That's what you said. Can you imagine? So that's what the state of the market is. And these tend to be long, painful. However, the fact is that these are also very stealthy. When these turn around, just as in that phase, it creates a monstrous bull market. But before that, it will frustrate everybody. It will tire everybody. And when it happens, there's skepticism, there's doubt. Then people keep waiting for corrections. So when I look at global markets, I see that they're going through this kind of phase. This is also happening in the US. But the silver lining, see, I am bullish. I have much larger targets. It's taking some time. The reason is, what I do in such times, Prashant, is I look at something called a 52-week high, 52-week low ratio. So even last night, US, it is a 10:1 52-week high versus 1 52-week lows. So there's not much you can do with the index, there's not much you can do with the direction, but in that also there are a lot of stocks. You can still make money in sideways market if you are in that space which is kind of breaking out on the upside. Also, very often, as I said, nobody knows when the market as a whole breaks out. You'll find that the leadership that is visible today will actually lead the next bull market. And that, I feel, is changing big time. Like in US also, if you look at it, it is the industrials. And if you know, we don't have industrials per se as a sector in India, but if you drill down, even today you'll see that the stocks hitting 52-week highs are more in that category.
Absolutely, like the L&Ts of the world are looking pretty good. But how starved are we of this market rally, right? I mean, he started by saying a rally in the last 7 days. I think after a painful period, even 7-8 days of an up move seems like a rally. But how do you think this is going to end? Do you see this consolidation phase end with a big upside perhaps in the latter half of the year? Because that is one narrative as well.
Yeah, see, we cannot time it. You know, very often these also give a lot of false breakouts. False breakouts is that, okay, it looks like a certain level is broken out. Like, let's say I take, whatever, 17,800. I'm just giving you throwing you a number. It will deceive. So, as I said, pain and time are a part of it. So you can actually never time it. But the fact is that those who survive it, and more importantly, what I was saying, Prashant, the leadership, that actually tends to be very rewarding. I can take you back another time, 2002, 2003. Why I'm saying that is that the themes or sectors that are leading or breaking out today were also the themes and sectors breaking out then.
So where do you see the leadership come from now?
Absolutely. That's the next question. Your capital goods, engineering, infra. These are sectors nobody touched. You spoke about L&T. What has L&T done for a decade? Nothing. It's been a lost decade for the stock. But the fact is that you cannot ignore such stocks. So very often what happens is that you will find that early breakouts or stocks that even are doing well in sideways markets very often lead the next bull market. Now, will this consolidation be W-shaped, U-shaped, L-shaped? Honestly, Sonia, we don't know, because there are so many moving parts. And even I tend to believe that, I was in fact expecting the sometime in Jan, Feb, and we've shared it. I was expecting new highs, and it was roaring because India was outperforming. But I think we've taken a hit. I feel that the whole Adani issue also has taken the shine of India because, India was a big-time outperformer. In fact, we were the only market hitting 52-week highs or lifetime highs for that matter. But you will notice that around 18,200, this is also where the budget was. We had a great budget. And you will find that the shine of India as a relative outperformer has also kind of gone. So I do think that we are also taking our time-wise corrections, and but opportunities.
That's only right, because I was looking at some numbers from the lows of COVID,
right,
across asset classes.
Right.
India ranks. This is including Bitcoin and whatnot, right?
Right.
India is still right up there in terms of returns.
Absolutely.
Absolute returns from the lows of COVID across markets, across large markets and asset classes. So some time correction perhaps is...
Absolutely. Because look at December, Prashant. We were at 18,800 plus something, almost 18,900. And a lot of other markets were making 52-week lows. Correct. And that's when you understand that, that whole relative outperformance was massive. So India cannot just be, you have something called the tall poppy culture. That whichever poppy grows, that gets chopped off first. So to some extent, when nothing is happening, people were not making money anywhere. They had to book in some market where they were making money. And I guess we are going through a time-wise correction. It is frustrating, volumes will be low. But as I said, the silver lining is that what I do is look at 52-week high versus 52-week lows. This is what internals of the market are. And that's where you'll find sectors and themes. These sectors and themes not only make money for you in the short run, but I feel they become very big leaders of the next bull market. And this is a great time to actually do that, to do that transition in your portfolio. Most people are sitting with the leaders of the last bull market. Every bull market throws new leadership.
Right.
And in such times where there is no massive price moves, I think it's an excellent time to, churn. If you churn, I guess the next phase is favorable, or that's where you get outperformance. If you don't, you will say that, okay, the market's going up, but my portfolio is not going up, which is the standard narrative that happens.
Atul, good to speak to you as always. And 2010 to 2013, I witnessed that. But you lost me on the previous one because 2002, obviously, I wasn't tracking.
There are some kids. There are some new kids in the market.
But Atul, give us a couple of, you were telling us themes, leaders that you're looking at as well, maybe from the cap goods, the industrial space as well. Right. Is there an index you're looking at? I'm looking for levels out here, or a couple of stocks that you could share with us, which you're tracking closely, which are looking like, they could move up from here.
See, what happens is that the way indexes are available to us are pretty, pretty broad-based. Yeah. So what we've done at Marathon is that we've actually subdivided the market, the NSE 500 to 50 thematic indexes.
Okay.
So what I can tell you is about those thematic indexes and what they are throwing up. So even among cap goods engineering, it's a very big segment. Right. You'll find that electrical equipments, right? Now, you'll have to actually figure out now what is that. That's something very simple. Anyone can do. But you'll find that even in that, electric equipments is something that's doing very good.
Okay.
Then engineering per se as a sector. Remember, all cap goods is not engineering. If you take the subset of engineering, you'll find that that also is doing very well. So you'll find that there are some themes. But the important part is that most of these themes are pointing towards the industrials as a broad category.
Right.
And the same theme you are seeing out of the US also. If you go and look at 52-week highs versus lows yesterday, you'll find that half of them in the US also are industrials. So in the sideways market also, some themes are playing out. And as I said, that very often these tend to be leaders of the next bull market.
Interesting. Atul, what about the commodity space? We had a fundamental analyst who was telling us that things are looking up in China, maybe for the property market.
Sure.
And that's why some of these metal-related stocks did well.
Yeah.
What's your view out there on commodities on the whole? Any particular commodity you're tracking?
No, I look at commodities very closely because they're very correlated with inflation and bond yields, which is the mother of all, signals of the market. So what we saw that a few months ago, that commodities actually all broke down. If you see crude, it went, let's say Brent, that matters to us, that went to 70.
Yeah.
75 was a base, it broke down, the CRB index broke down, a lot of things. And it thought that that's it, the end of commodities. But all asset classes get very oversold, overbought.
Yes.
When they get very oversold, which we saw in the case of commodities, leads to a pullback rally. So crude from 75 just came up to 85 due to OPEC action and all those are stories. Right. That, you'll always have some stories to fill the narrative or to justify the price. The same thing we are seeing in metals. So it was due that a very oversold asset class has to see a pullback. The issue that comes up is that are they starting a new bull market? If that happens, we've got a problem, boss. We've got a serious problem.
So, I have a question on the overarching theme which we discussed, right, at the start. Of course, trends and all of that, sectors are fine. But if global markets head into a recession towards the end of the year, then are you looking at the possibility of resuming the lows that we saw last year, or has that been ruled out entirely on the charts?
I don't think it is. See, nothing is ruled out. Yeah. But the fact is that even in the consolidation that we're talking about, you will find that the S&P and all are making higher bottoms. A higher bottoms is always a very good, when markets, like see India, since Jan, we are making lower tops. In the sense that, each time we pull back, 18,800, 18,200, 17,800, now we are getting there. So that is the nature of a downward sloping trend. But in the US, etc., you'll find they're making higher bottoms. That's why global markets are relatively outperforming India. So that sort of base. So you cannot rule them out, but always higher bottoms gives you a sign of confidence. And so there are things like recession. Now, is it a deep recession, elongated recession? How will the Fed pivot? There are huge amount of variables to it. We can, as I said, fill the narrative. We can do the storytelling. But if you really look at the market, you will see that in the last 3 to 4 months, the US has making higher bottoms. The breadth is improving. Even tech as a sector, which was the Achilles heel of the market, you'll find it's repairing. Even in India, if you see, some mid-cap tech stocks are doing phenomenal. So I feel that these are all interesting themes. Nothing overarching, painful, excruciating, but in that also look at silver linings. And in simplicity, if you want to summarize it, look at 52-week high versus 52-week lows. You get clarity on that.
Where else in this subsectors? Electrical equipment is one you said. I mean, industrials largely, but outside of that, where else, Atul?
Again, auto ancillaries. We like to look at auto names. We look at auto numbers, etc. The big 3, 4. But if you look at ancillaries, Prashant, there's a lot of interest happening there. Even in that, if you drill it down to those linked to electrical mobility, you'll find that those stocks are actually also doing well. So you will have certain themes, they're micro themes, they're playing out. But I guess the screen, the markets, and then we have result season coming up. So all these things will ultimately get cemented because wherever the results are not there, those stocks will give it away. But if you start even seeing results, then I think you got a wonderful picking for your portfolio.
As they say, there's always a bull market somewhere.
Absolutely.
Find it.
Absolutely. Money never sleeps.
Which has been a hard find in India, right? We've been looking for the bull market for a very long time. But Atul, pleasure speaking with you. Thanks a lot for joining in.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me.
Have a good one. Since you